Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, December 29th, 2020. The end of the year is near. My name is Carrie, Colorado Knits. You can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, and Twitter as Colorado Knits. Website is coloradoknits.net, and the email is hello@coloradoknits.net. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to go over some of my finished objects because I've been knitting like a crazy lady for the last couple of weeks, and wanted to follow up on my Vlogmas, which was like 8 days of Vlogmas. It was not very successful, but what it did was get me ready to do this, but also we had our big giving day and I had practiced being in front of the camera and was totally casual with my donors when I sent them all thank you emails. So hopefully this will be pretty short today. I already recorded once and I talked really fast, which I do anyway, but it was really fast. And then I went off on a political rant, so I decided I would just start over and see how it went. So a couple of weeks ago, I have all my stuff all around me. A couple of weeks ago, I went through all of my WIPS, just random, some of them were just project bags with half skeins or skeins of yarn in them that had intention. And I decided to state my intention about each of these, and I made this big list of WIPS that I wanted to get finished at some point. There was no deadline. It wasn't like by the end of the year I have to do this, but it's that thing, if you get it out of your head and you identify it, you can stress about it less. And I didn't feel that I should be stressing about something like knitting. So I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 WIPs, including 4, so really 21 because there's 4 hats that I have to do as one of those WIPs. And so far I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them I have completed. One actually was just in my head that it was a WIP. I hadn't even started it, so I started it and finished it. Like I had to dig for the yarn and everything. So that's a good feeling. And now I'm working on getting the rest done, or identifying if I just don't even want them anymore or if they're just not important. So I'm gonna start with my faux show and get some things off of that list that I completed that are totally completed. The first would be my December holiday Christmas socks from Artistic Yarn by Abby. These came with the November monthly subscription, and they came with a super cute sheep cookie cutter, and I made sheep shaped gingerbread the other day. And this is just my basic vanilla sock pattern. It is 64 stitches, toe up with a traditional not rounded toe, fish lips kiss heel, and then I do basically the full length of the leg and then start the cuff at the end of the toe. So and even doing that leaves me with a ton of yarn left over, especially if I do all 3 heel, toe, and cuff. In contrast, usually I just do heel and toe, but I felt the urge to do the cuff. So these I can whip out while watching TV or whatever, and I like to do about a sock a month, just vanilla socks. I have now started filling up my 4th 32 pair sock ornament keeper that I keep my socks in. I have one more in my closet, and I have a feeling next year I'm gonna have to use it, like at the end of this year. So those were on my WIP list. I am one of those dorks that when I finish a project, I have to use all the yarn. There are some half skeins up here and they drive me absolutely bonkers, and they're all gonna be mini socks, but I'm trying to be good and not freak out about needing to do them right now. The next project I finished, that is done with its block party, it's totally blocked and finished, is the Dress It Up shawl by Paper Daisy Creations, otherwise known as Lisa Ross. And this is a beautiful 2-color, very large shawl. I think it's supposed to be either 65 or 85 inches in the pattern. I cannot remember, but it is at least 65 because I am 61 inches. And I have a whole nother, gosh, that's gonna be 2 feet more that I have on that. So I'd say it's 85 inches. This is done in Leading Men Fiber Arts, their Showstopper, which is, I think it's an 80-20. I moved my yarn around, so I can't tell you off the top of my head. And the colors The colors are Long Stocking and London Fog. This is an absolutely lovely knit pattern. It is lovely lace. It is big. So if you do plan to do it, don't do it on a deadline. I think I missed the test knitting deadline. I still am not sure if I did, but I know Lisa fairly well and she was very gracious about that. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and it's very meditative knitting. If you like knitting lace, and you can read your pattern well, if you can read lace well, it's easy. If you can't, this is a good pattern to learn on, I think. There are, when it gets to be its largest, there are 24 or 25 repeats of the same pattern. And it is just, you get into a rhythm. It is not something for me that I could do watching TV, or I could listen to music, not even really an audiobook, because I liked to talk to myself while I did it, like knit 2, knit 1 through the back loop, purl 1, knit 1 through the back loop. There is some purling through the back loop, so if that's new to you, it's not hard. It just makes these gorgeous twisted stitches. So this is lovely. She called it Dress It Up because it's a simple shawl with just enough detail that it'll look great with jeans and a t-shirt, or you could wear it with a dress or whatever, depending on your color palette. This neutral gray is just absolutely London Fog, so gorgeous. It's got a little blue in it. I had the hardest time figuring out what these two colors would be. They were going to be a white light, and that didn't work out, and they were just too close. There was not enough contrast, and I just hemmed and hawed, and I will say, this is reclaimed yarn that I did not wash. I just went in and knit it again, and it knit up absolutely gorgeous. So thank you, Leading Men Fiber Arts. These are beautiful. And it is blocked, and it is huge, and I cannot wait to wear it, except that means I would have to wear real clothes. And I am in leggings and a too big for me weird collared sweatshirt right now, and this has kind of been my uniform for 8 months. The other thing I finished and has been blocked is my Habitation Throw by, I think it's Helen Stewart, Curious Handmade. And I started this for Advent. I made my own Advent calendar because I was slightly jealous of everybody who gets Advent calendars. So I made my own, and I made it out of my Row 1 Carnival of Color minis. And that is a club where every month you get a series of 10 10-gram minis from the same dyer, but a variety of colors. And I just did light, dark, and I put them all together. Apparently I sort of cheated and looked, but then the second half I did not cheat and look at all because they are not homogeneous, which is fine. And I love it. It is, when I blocked it, I made it a little bit bigger. My husband laughs because he's like, what good is if it has that many holes in it? But it's basically all 80-20 or 75-25, so it's pretty darn warm, and it's perfect for my home office for a lap blanket or the comfy chair that I sit in to do data entry, which is in front of me, which is why I pointed in front of me. So I'm excited about this. I didn't really need to block it, but I wanted to make it just a little bit bigger because it was pretty small straight off the needles. I'm a very tight knitter, so straight off the needles things are very, very compressed. So those are the things I finished. They were all, and I've blocked. Those were all on my to-do list. Now I have two things that are ready for the block party. The first, this one, those I will confess I machine washed on Gentle and then blocked them out, stretched them out. The shawl did require pinning. Obviously the blanket didn't. Blocking does not mean pinning. Blocking just means shaping. So don't worry if you don't have blocking wires for a lot of stuff. This is my Sweet Georgia Yarns Advent that was gifted to me as the 2018 Advent. It was an adventure, in that sometimes I had enough yarn for the day and sometimes I didn't. And I ended up going down a needle size in the beginning, like halfway through, just to make sure I had a better chance of hitting the amount. I did finish it early because I was working on these lace sections and they're so pretty and I love lace. I haven't done lace in a long time and I forgot how much I love faux cable lace like this. It's just so pretty, with some traveling stitches. And you can see there's a lot of, that is silk, and it is very strong silk, but it also means that this has to soak before I block it, and I've been too lazy to soak it and block it. So there will be a block party today with this. This is the only part I don't like. It's a very pretty color, but it is not my wheelhouse. These these are my wheelhouse. These blues are so pretty. But I stretched it outside of my comfort zone, so that was good. The other thing I finished, I'm so excited about, reclaimed some needles and a project bag. This is my 2019 Jimmy Beans Wool Monthly Mad Tosh Shawl Kit. I started it I was behind from the get-go. I started it in like March, but got caught up and then did every clue as it came in. And then when I got to December, I got the last bit and the instructions said to pick up and knit 760 stitches and do an I-cord bind off. And I-cord was not my thing at the time. I don't know if it's my thing now, but it was not my thing. And the thought of it just was like, ugh. So I thought, oh, I'll just make a ribbing or something. And then I never did. And then there was so much I-cord. This is knitted on I-cord in the habitation throw that I decided I can do this. It's pretty. I really like the I-cord accent. So, and following someone on Instagram who was doing her slip stravaganza, which has 900 stitches in an I-cord bind off, I decided I could do it. And I did about 15 minutes at a time. And last night I counted out 100 stitches and how long it would take me to do them. And it took 22 minutes to do 100 stitches in front of the TV. So I finished it. And I love it. When I saw the designer, it's an Amba O'Brien shawl. And when I saw the designer colorway, I didn't think I chose this colorway, and I guess I did. But this looked really red, and it's presenting red here, but it's actually sort of a magenta, which is better than red. More about red later. Red is not my color at all. So this is absolutely gorgeous. It needs a good block. I'm excited to do that. It is superwash, but if I'm soaking the other one, I'll probably soak this one. We have 2 sinks in our bathroom and I will just soak both of them simultaneously and get it put on the blocking mats today, so that I will have it for next week when I go back to work, even though I don't even know if I'm going into the office yet. So those are my block party things that need to get done. And then works in progress. This is my work in progress. This is one of 2 socks. Obviously it's a sock. It's a Turkish bed socks by Church Mouse. This is my go-to when I have a very small amount of yarn left. It takes about 33 grams of yarn. I did do a contrasting toe. You cannot tell because it's an artistic yarn by Abby and it matches perfectly. I don't think I even needed to change the yarn because it used so little and I had enough, but I did. That is one WIP, and my other WIP, it's over here, is doing Under the Boardwalk Shorties by, actually I don't know by whom, but this is more of my Christmas colorway by Artistic Yarn by Abby Christmas Cookie. You can see how much yarn I have left. When I do heels, toes, and cuffs, I end up using only like 35, 40 grams of yarn. So I have a lot of yarn left over. So this could possibly make even, yes, I just smelled my yarn. This could possibly make Under the Boardwalk and Turkish bed socks. I'm a dork who has to use all her yarn, as I mentioned, and those make me twitch seeing half skeins. Now that I have done the habitation throw, I could see myself making a few of those, maybe gifting some of them. They don't need to be perfectly 10 grams each or anything. They could just be a scrappy throw. And I have learned I cannot do mitered square blanket. It just drives me a little bonkers and my tension changes, and I prefer not to do that. So those are my WIPs and finished objects. In progress, I have those socks, but I also have, I'm getting organized and I'm very excited about it. I have horrific allergies because it keeps going hot to cold in Denver. It was 70 on Saturday and it snowed last night. So no COVID here, thankfully. So I am redoing my whole knitting room / home office. I replaced my desk with a desk I already had. I swapped out my desk the other day and it gave me a lot more space in my knitting room. I am waiting for a shoe rack to arrive. It is a 6 foot tall, 36 compartments. No, it's more than 36, I think, but it's compartments that are smaller. And I thought it would look better with my yarn instead of having it all smushed in here because some of it's skeined and some of it's hanked and some of it's you know, all these different types of presentations. I can organize it by color and make it super pretty, but it also takes up less space. It is actually skinnier than a double calyx and taller, and I think it'll hold my yarn a little bit better. I will have another calyx that I will use for my notions and my needles and stuff. But in the interim, I also wanted to organize my my fixed circular needles. I have a lot of them. I have tons of sets of interchangeable needles as well, but these are all of my fixed circular. So I live for the 9-inch circular needle. But also for hats, I like using, you know, the 16-inch fixed. So this has been my solution. They're basically numerical from 0 to 11s or whatever these are, 13s. And then if I'm using one, I put the packaging over here, but it's still pretty sloppy. And so I saw a tutorial where you can just take basic manila folders and cut them and put them into like a shoebox, basically. Ooh, a shoebox would work really well. My husband has really big feet. You can basically put them in a shoebox to sort them out and then put labels on the sizes. And so it's organizing season, so I went to the box store and got a box to do this with. This is what they recommended. But then yesterday I went to IKEA and they have so many pretty organizing things. IKEA is the worst. It's totally enabling. I went to get a Billy bookcase to do with my organization, and they said they had them online and they were sold out. So I got another calyx. I wanted more flexibility in the shelving, but those are so great. And I will say, IKEA lovers, if you haven't built a calyx recently, they used to use wooden dowels to hold everything together. They have finally gotten with it and use screws. So I feel like you could take them apart if you need to take them apart, if you ever need to move. I have 2 giant 4x4 calyxes downstairs because I did not wish to move them up my flight of stairs that is a broken flight of stairs. So I'm sure my movers could have done it, but I did not want them to. And they fit perfectly downstairs, so we use them there. But anyway, so I bought these beautiful storage boxes. They are not just cardboard, they're like a coated cardboard. And I thought this would be an even prettier way to organize my needles. The only difference is the Sterilite box, I only have to do 1 cut, a vertical cut on the file folders. This one I do have to do a double cut, but I have a cutting mat, and I have from my scrapbook, not even my scrapbooking, my planner days, I have really good razor cuts, like X-Acto knives. So I don't think that will be that difficult to do. I'm just debating which way I do it. Now I might even go pull out one of my husband's big shoe boxes and see how those work. And maybe just decoupage over them or something. And then while at IKEA, I bought pillows for my home office. I bought a stuffed dog for my office because, come on. I also didn't know he was $20. I thought it was like $10, but he's so cute. Yes, I'm a 50-year-old woman who bought a stuffed dog at IKEA, and go ahead and make your comment because he's almost as cute as my real dogs, and he doesn't wake me up at 4 a.m. to go out. So I even took a nap with him yesterday because he was so amazingly soft. So that's, I don't know what's going on with his eye there. That's a little sketchy. But that was an IKEA purchase as well, and I love him. My final IKEA purchase fell on the floor. This might be my favorite purchase, and I think I'm going to, I have an idea for these. So this is a micro IKEA bag. It's so cute. It's just big enough for notions, and I am thinking about making, I have, where is it? It's super loud. You can hear it. I have a knitting case, and it's got in it, it's got my stitch markers, it's got snips, it's got needles, and it's got knitting tools, like the little fix-a-stitches, and I love it, but it is also really loud. And I think these would make wonderful versions of these, and I don't know if legally I'm allowed to resell an IKEA bag, but I'd be sort of tempted to make these, if nothing else, as gifts. But they're perfect for like holding a gift card, or I actually am going to use this one as my wallet. I use a little Vera Bradley wallet now that has my ID, my medical insurance cards, and my debit card. And so I'm going to do that with this. I think they're super cute. I also did buy the rainbow giant real one of these, which I've been wanting for about 6 months, and I just have not seen when I went down to my local IKEA, and I found that. So that was awesome. So those were my IKEA acquisitions. Some lights, some other little things, but it's amazing how you can rack up $100 on nothing. And then yarn acquisitions. So I'm expecting some yarn today. I was pretty good over the holidays. I did get, our holidays were quiet. There's just 2 of us. We don't exchange gifts. We usually just go buy stuff for one another. Like, hey, that's a cute sweatshirt. Oh, I'll buy it for you. We actually have separate checking accounts. TMI, I know. So for Christmas, I got him some bourbon that he wanted, that he had a hard time considering he wanted to pay. Like, he's like, I can't pay that much for bourbon. I'm like, it's a gift. And some sweatshirts from our, from some sports teams. And he is helping me buy a new iPad, but he also has bought little things for me, and he bought me new glasses. Like, he pulled out his debit card to pay for my glasses the other day. So I take that. So I mostly got cash from my family because I don't want anything. Like, I really don't need anything. Our house is full of stuff, and we are even like getting rid of stuff all the time. When I redo my yarn, I'm sure there will be a big donation to a local shelter that does knitting as therapy. So I didn't buy a lot of yarn over Christmas. I have a test knit coming up for someone, and it requires DK. And believe it or not, in all of this, I have no DK. It is all fingering or worsted, no DK at all. So I'm excited to get some DK in the mail today. It is out for delivery, and I'm waiting for the text to come through that it has arrived, and I will run to the mailbox. But what I did order is, my friend Laura is Always Be Kind yarn, and she has a new-ish dyer. She started Kool-Aid dyeing by herself, like on her own, and she makes these really vibrant rainbows, and I've shown socks that I've made by her from her yarn, and I love it. She has a whole bunch of other yarns. This is one of, is this going to be a cascading? This is another one of her colorways that I have that's white with a rainbow base. If ever you want to know my wheelhouse, this is it. White with rainbows, gray with rainbows, black with rainbows, particularly gray and white. And this is sparkly. So I got yarn from her, and this yarn is amazing. It creates a little snowman. So you can see there's black for a top hat. There's red for the band on the hat and the scarf. And it has little eyes, and you have to get, obviously, a certain gauge to get it. The striping order from the top is black, red, green, white with the carrot, red, white, black, white, blue. So regardless, it's very pretty wintry colors. These are going to be my January socks, and I'm going to mess around with them quite a bit. I have to make sure I wind it right so that I get, if I decide to do toe up, that they are correct. If I decide to do toe down, I can do that too, or cuff down. I'm not a fan of cuff down, but since I do my shorties cuff down, I'm comfortable with them. And then Laura sent me a gift because she's a super sweet woman. And we have a lot in common, and she's a friend, and she sent me this lovely red and green variegated Christmas yarn with a matching red and green mini, and they're so pretty. It's variegated, not self-striping, and it has this cute little, I don't know if it's going to come across, little penguin stitch marker. It's variegated, so it's not self-striping, so I'm thinking it might make a lovely Christmas shawl. Maybe a short row shawl. Heather Booz has a Yellow Ribbon Crafts, has a bunch of short row shawls with contrasting minis, or it could be a hat and mitts. I am not sure. It is $75.25 superwash in nylon, and it is obviously it will not get knit up until later in the summer or fall. I am thinking about doing a Christmas in July and having an advent calendar knit along, where we make little socks. I've done a sock advent calendar before, and I feel like I want to make my husband and I one and I made it for my mother. And I don't think she even pulled it out this year. That's what a weird Christmas it's been for all of us. So those were my only acquisitions so far. I am possibly going to buy some Felici while it's on sale. I think the sale's over, but a couple colorways are going away that I don't want to miss out on. And so I've got all of my commercial yarn there. And I think I'm going to pick some of that up, but I have so much yarn. One of my goals for 2021 is to knit down some of this yarn. It is not a hard and fast goal. It is not like, if I don't do it, I'll be disappointed, but it really is. There's just so much up here that I need to get rid of. And I love it and I want to knit it. And it's not all single skeins, but there's a lot of single skeins. So if I buy stuff, it'll be contrasting with that or coordinating so that I can make some larger shawls. I don't have any other real goals for 2021. I think we've learned our lesson from 2020. I think just really enjoying my knitting. I think I'm going to back off from test knitting. I say this as I have a test knit due shortly. I'm really hating my lighting here. There. I'm going to back away from test knitting and just really knit what I want to knit. I am going to do 12 pair of socks. I have a couple of friends who are doing a 12 sock along, and anyone's welcome to join us. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just use your sock yarn and knit 12 pair of socks. I think I just really want to be a little more organized, a little more intentional. It's going to be pretty hard at work this year. Fundraising this year is going to be harder than it was last year. I think people are really going to start to feel the true effects of the pandemic in terms of their checkbooks. So hopefully we'll do well in fundraising. Hopefully we'll all get vaccines and we can do a special event. It is our 45th anniversary in November of my organization, and that's a really big deal to my boss. And so he wants to have a big gala. And I just don't know if we can have one. Hopefully by November, there'll be enough people vaccinated that we will actually have herd immunity. I just don't know. My husband did get his first dose of the vaccine 2 weeks ago. He gets his next one in a week and a half. And he did have some side effects. He had some nausea and some stomach issues, but nothing awful. He did not have any allergic reactions. Apparently that's very common with the Pfizer vaccine, so he's fine with that. It could be a little more intense with the second dose, but he has a very wonderful workspace that if he doesn't feel well, he goes home, and it's not anything that he did, so they make sure that he gets compensated for that because he is basically required to have the vaccine and wants the vaccine. So I am hoping that I will get it. I saw an article the other day that said they think by May, the majority of Americans should be able to get the vaccine. And that's good because I'm really looking forward to Zombie Knitpocalypse, which is in late June. And I really, really want to go in person. I didn't attend last year. They had it a virtual event and I just wasn't for me. Virtual events are hard for me, I say, as I do a video podcast. But I don't always like being in those rooms. So being with people, and I'm enough of an introvert anyway, that being with people is hard enough for me. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's in late June and hopefully it will happen. Looking forward to traveling with a friend to go to that. And actually we have never met in real life. We've exchanged gifts. We've done all sorts of things, but hoping that she'll be able to make it as well. I hope you guys all had a really great holiday season. I hope it was intimate and quiet. I know it was different. If you have kids, it had to be really different. For kids with grandparents and all of that. I hope you stayed home. I know the biggest travel day of the year was 2 days ago, Sunday, at our airport, but it was small. It was half of what it normally is. So I guess that's good. I'm going to do a quick rants and raves. My quick rave, I think I would say, would be my state. I'm really proud of the state of Colorado. We avoided a Thanksgiving surge. We had a surge and it's awful. And we have so many people dying and so many people in the hospital, but it was nothing compared to California or Wisconsin or Texas or Florida or anywhere else, Kentucky. So I'm really happy that people stayed home and they listened and they took care of our public health needs first. And I hope they did the same over Christmas. As I mentioned, my husband works in healthcare. He is not in direct patient care of COVID patients, but it affects him on a daily basis. So, and it affects all of us on a daily basis. Going out to IKEA was the most out I've been in a little bit. with lots of people. So I avoid that whenever I can because I just don't need to. And also apparently it gives me horrible allergies. And my rant, I don't really have a rant because I recorded one and went off and it was really like I was angry politically, so I won't do that. I think my rant will actually be right now my neighbor. They parked in front of my house and it's garbage day and now I have nowhere to put my garbage cans and that annoys me. It's a little thing that they could have pulled their car up just a little bit more so my trash can could go where it normally goes. And also it is 11:10 a.m. and they haven't moved their car yet. So that if that's the worst of my rants, life's pretty good, and it is. So I hope that you are well. I hope your family is well. I hope you have a wonderful new year. I don't think that turning a page from December to January is really going to make a whole difference in our lives. It's very arbitrary, January 1st, in terms of making our goals or doing those things. But with the vaccine soon to be available to more folks, with, with hopefully the holidays, the numbers dying down after that, bad word, going down after that, I hope that people are able to get a little bit more normalcy. My friend had an autocorrect contest where we had to put in 2021 is going to be, and mine was okay. That's what autocorrect put in for me, so 2021 is going to be okay. In the meantime, enjoy your knitting, enjoy your crafting, enjoy your family. I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I will talk to you in about a week and a half. I'm hoping to podcast regularly every other Monday because that's my day off work. Take care.